This is called a treat and train, and you can get it off of Amazon. So this is a treat dispenser. I pretty much just put kibble in it right now because it's a nice thing for my dogs to use for their daily food, and my kibble fits really well into it. There's two sizes that you can use. There's this size that my kibble has, and then there's a bigger size. There is kind of a limit to the size of the food that you can put in here. And then I would not recommend putting any type of soft treats in here, cheese. You can probably chop up pepperonis and that would fit in here. So you kind of have to play with it, but just know there is a size cutoff for it. And then also the type of treats. Just be careful with the soft stuff. When you get your treat and train, you're also going to get a booklet and a video for all the instructions for it. I do highly recommend you watching the video. There's a lot of awesome little tips in there on how you can start the process of training it. There is a lot of like little nuances to the machine. If you watch that video, you'll get to see them all. You'll get to see actual dogs that have gone through the program of using it and how they react in the beginning and how they react at the end. So that part, that's really cool. So if you have time to sit down and watch that, I do recommend it. There is a small remote that comes with this. You can actually order more and set them up. There's 4 different channels that they link to on the device. And there is a channel button on the inside of the remote right next to the battery. There is different sounds on here and volumes. It's a beep sound, and then you hear the machine sound. Some dogs don't like the beep sound. Some people like to make sure that they counter condition the beep sound so that way they hear the beep. I find because the motor is so noisy on this one that kind of becomes the signal for them. So I just turn off the sound and then it's just the motor. The way that I first introduce it is I will have the machine out on the floor. You can use your dog's breakfast or dinner depending on if your kibble will actually fit in there or not. Then what I do is I have my dog out there, they're kind of sniffing at it. I've had some dogs that start to paw at it, try to get the food out of there. One option is if it's really bad, your dog's gonna knock it over and break it and get all the food out of it. That way I would step in and just kind of move them out of the way. Once they're leaving the machine alone, then you can push the button and have them go eat the food. I am ahead of that with Maple, so what we are doing is I tell her get it. That's a game that we've played a whole bunch where I toss food away. I say get it, I toss food away, and she goes and gets it, and then she comes back and gets another piece of reward. It's a different game, but she knows that term get it. She knows that that means the food is gonna be over there. So after, say instead, maybe you stand right there and you say get it and you push the button and you kind of point at it, and that's gonna get them interested in the food and they're gonna understand the food comes from that machine. Then we can move on to the part where I have Maple going to get the food. She still wants to come over to me, but what I'm wanting her to do is stay by the machine. So, but I'm giving her option. This is kind of a part of the game too, is that she has enough freedom that she can kind of move around if she wants to. She can choose not to go get the food. Sometimes I'll still help and I'll point my finger out so that way she goes and gets it. But because she keeps coming up to me, so I think she's looking for something from me. I'm telling her to go get it and go eat the food over there, and my goal in my mind is for her to stay there. So everything I'm doing is to try to get her to stay at that point, but without telling her to stay there. So I say get it, I push the button, she goes and gets her food, she wants to wander away, I say get it again, and it's just this back and forth. And eventually you'll see here, she actually starts staying put. At that point, I don't give any more commands. I don't have to say anything. I'm just pushing the button every couple of seconds to get her to stay right there. That's my goal for this session. So that's what we were doing. So that can turn into a whole bunch of more things. So eventually I might wait for her to lay down, and then that's when she gets her rewarded, and boom, now I have a downstay in that spot that this treat and train is at. So if you want your dog, say in a hallway or by a bed or something like that, you can position this machine next to that area, and by always rewarding over there and sending the dog over to that spot, what you find is that eventually your dog is not going to want to come back over to you like Maple kept doing to me, and they're eventually going to stay where they're at. So this is the beginner steps of that. The other thing that I'm using this for is counter conditioning. Maple is going to demonstrate the counter conditioning. She is so sensitive to hearing footsteps outside. There's a wooden gate right at the porch that if you don't close it, it swings around and it'll slam, or it'll kind of like half close and then it'll swing back out. So that makes a lot of noises. There's creaky noises. All of that stuff sets Maple off. I have Maple inside the crate. I'm standing in front of her, in front of the front door, and I am knocking, and she is seeing me knock, and she is still barking. So I'm going to be rewarding her a lot for this stuff. The food is going to help bring down her emotional state. It's going to help calm her down. Food, eating, sniffing things out, all of that stuff helps bring the brain down and bring the dog back into reality. So when you are in a reactive state, you're not thinking. This is habitual for her. This is not thought about at all. She is not thinking when she starts barking. I know that because I'm knocking right in front of her. There is nobody here at my house. She sees me knocking and she loses it. So I'm feeding her anyways. And when she calms back down, and you can see her look at me, she looks at the camera. I tell her down because she doesn't do it automatically right now. And then I start feeding her for being in the down. I wait for everything to relax. She's looking at me, and then I'll knock again. And then it starts the whole process again. This is something that I set up intentionally. So in those moments, have a plan ahead of time of what you're trying to accomplish. For me, it's just that she calms down even with the knocking. You don't get to see that. You know, I still knock and she still has a big reaction. I think this is going to take me and her quite a while. I like the treat and train because I can incorporate it into my everyday life with my dog. So my goals with that is the counter conditioning work, and then eventually it's going to turn into a downstay. So I only reward when she goes over to the specific places that I want her to be in, and she goes into a down, then she gets rewarded. So from the top, the process is the trigger happens. My goal is she's going to go into the crate if she is outside of the crate, or she's going to go into a down if she is inside the crate already, and she's going to stay there and look for the food. I hope this is helpful. My name is Amanda, and I'm from Free and Balanced Canine Training. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any other questions about it, just let me know. You can message me on here, or you can email me. Yeah, thank you for watching my video.